guys, welcome to Showtime. As you all know, in here is all about entertainment, and today in the studio or in the house we have a very important guest, which is someone I know you guys will want to hear about. But before we go into what we have for you today, let's take a very quick break, and when we return, the show continues. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back. Welcome back, guys. I know you guys are itching to know who I have on the show today. We have no other person but Mariam Bukur, aka Alhanislam. You're welcome on the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I know I caught you off guard. This is not your style, but anyhow, we go.
No troubles.
Okay, so before we go into what we have today, how did the name Alhanislam come to be?
Right. So, whenever I would make my mom happy or I'll do something that she liked, she would call me Alhan, which is melody. And then coincidentally, there was a cartoon it's a Barbie cartoon, and in secondary school, there's Fatima and Miriam Adamu, and then we sort of took the names of the characters in that cartoon, and I happened to be Melody in that cartoon, and then Fatima was Alexa. So that name now, when you translate that in Arabic, is Alhan.
Yeah.
Yes, so that's how Alhan came about. The Islam part of it that I added was because I am a very free-spirited person. And I can get distracted quite easily, but also my faith matters to me a lot. And sometimes you lose that battle when it comes to your soul. And for me, in order to sort of keep myself in check, I decided to add the name Islam to Alhan.
Yeah.
But also when you translate that to English, it becomes Melody of Peace. But to me, it's beyond that. It's for me to keep myself in check. Even though, everyone sleeps and does whatever. But then for me, it's to remind me to still help me with that consciousness.
That's beautiful. Why did you go into poetry? Was it a childhood dream or just found yourself doing it?
You know how Malam Erufai says he's an accidental public servant?
Yeah.
I am an accidental poet.
and I must say, both of you are doing it perfectly.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
So my aunt got abused when she was, when I was 13 years old, she got abused by her husband. And I wrote an open letter to her husband. And when my mom saw it, she says, there is element of poetry in this. And I was wondering, what does that mean? And apparently my mom would write poems to my father before they got married. And so she showed me a couple of poems that she wrote to my dad. And I was like, oh, interesting. And, she insisted that I make a video of that particular letter. So, and then I was shy, and I didn't do that till I was 16 years old. And then I did that, and that was it. That was it. Like, I got a message from someone in Borno saying that after watching that video, he stopped hitting his wife.
Wow.
And that was the moment I realized that I have a duty to humanity. And, you bump into things, but then some of the things you actually bump into or accidentally start, you're not meant to stop. And that's how I continued.
That's quite inspiring. That's beautiful. So, at what stage, okay, you actually just told us what stage you realized that poetry was for you.
Yeah, the moment that guy sent that email to me, and in fact, now that I tell you what, just few weeks ago, I felt like, listen, should I really continue this? And then I met this lady at a salon, and she says, "You're Alhan?" I said, "Yes." And she said, "Your poem helped me when I was in a very dark mental state. And it was like I was hurt." And she said, "Thank you." And I was like, wow, you know, and that sort of just threw everything out of the window that made me feel like, stop it.
You felt like,
you know,
this is
and
it. This is the reason I do this.
Yeah, and I went to Kenya, and you had a lady walk up to me and say, I listened to your album, it helped me. And I'm just like, huh?
That's actually...
So I think if before I ever felt like poetry was not for me, now I think it's digested in me that it is meant for me.
So do you read other people's poems?
Yeah.
Or you just do yours?
I read other people's poems, but not read. I would say I watch, because I'm more of a visual learner. I am not a reader. So you'd find me Sunday morning, Sunday night. In fact, the whole of Sundays, you'd find me actually listening or watching poetry videos. I love to do that. You know, it's refreshing, because apart from the act in itself, I love internalizing people's poems, because it's just a beautiful art form, and everybody has their own style. So sort of seeing somebody else's style and just, you know, vibing with that, for me, it's just great. So I do that, but also I write my own poems, and yeah.
So who are those people that actually inspire you?
I think the number one person would be Maya Angelou. And the reason why is because she has been able to sort of institutionalize poetry to a certain extent beyond entertainment. And the second person would be J. Ivy. He's a Grammy-nominated poet. And he was also the reason why now we have a Grammy category, which is Best Spoken Word Poetry Album, included in the Grammy just this year. So, I mean, he is representing poets in the best of ways. He wants the culture to grow, and I respect him for that. So he inspires me. Yeah, so I think for me, I'd say these two people outside Nigeria. In Nigeria, you have F.A. Paul Azino, who is carrying young poets along, you know. He owns Lip Fest. And you have Basha Muneni. So these four people, they actually inspire me.
Okay, you've actually listed like two things you want to use your poetry to promote, you understand? But what is that thing that you want, like, if you are being asked, like, okay, this is what I want people to remember me for, you understand, using poetry, what is that one thing that you want to use your points to be remembered for?
I think if there's one thing that I want to be remembered for, would be that lady who used poetry for advocacy, and her voice was heard, and she was a catalyst for change. You know, I recently heard something very interesting about a hummingbird, which I think for me, that caps it all. A hummingbird, when there is fire in the forest, uses its tiny beak to drop, you know, just droplets in the forest. And that alerts the bigger animals, like the elephants, the rhinos, and they also now contribute in making sure that fire, you know, is out. And so I feel like I'm starting to realize that as a poet, there's only so much you can do. But also, one of the greatest gifts is that your voice can be an awakening to the people who have the autonomy to be that change they want to see, or create that change that they want to see. So yours is to awaken. And so I think I see myself as a hummingbird, and if there's one thing I want to be remembered for, is that.
That's actually beautiful. What can be done to revive the culture of poetry in Nigeria? I think just a few of you are doing that, like trying to bring it back.
I think, you know, with regards to more like what do I think can be done with regards institutionalizing poetry in Nigeria? I mean, for me, I would say collaboration, because you have pockets of, you know, things where people are operating in silos. But in order for the industry to grow in Nigeria or the culture to be sustained, we must collaborate a lot more. And I'm talking institutional level, not just individual level, because everyone's trying to do something to make a certain name. That's beautiful, that's perfect. But in order for it to be sustainable, we must harmonize the talents, you know, and we must start to see bigger than ourselves. It's a country thing, but you need to think global.
That's nice. Okay, I see you're acting now.
Okay, so that one.
Yeah, you're acting.
And so that one, that was more, I love to experiment. Like I said, I'm a free spirit. I love to experiment, and I experimented acting, right?
So,
just because I just wanted to
so
try it.
Are you saying it's not your thing?
It's not my thing, but also I'm not saying that you wouldn't see me in a movie in the future, but it has to be the type of movie that sort of revolves around social change.
Advocacy.
Because I do not want to dilute my brand so much, you know. So it has to be something that amplifies what I stand for. Yeah.
Okay. I get. It's not going to just be any kind of
It's not
movie.
just for entertainment.
Okay.
I don't see myself as you know, a pure entertainer.
Yeah, I wanted asking that. So you know, Nigerians, we see poets as entertainers. Is that's the way you want to be seen?
Right. I think, you see, here I'm going to borrow what Fela Kuti once said, where he said, you know, I am not a musician, but they would not bring me to the table without my music. So music is the access, you know, but, you know, I'm a catalyst for change. So in order for you to be on the table, you need to bring something. So if what we have is saying poets should come as entertainers, you know, for starters, that's okay. But we are not entertainers. We are a force to be reckoned with. We have the power to change mindsets. And I want every poet out there to start to embody that. You are a powerhouse. And part of you, you know, sometimes I say is equivalent to a prophecy to a certain extent. And why do I say that? Words, when you're spelling, it's called spelling for a certain reason, because you're actually casting a spell. Be it people's minds, hearts, whatever it is, you have the power to change mindsets. And, you know, when you talk about words in itself, if Allah Azza wa Jal did not think that words are powerful, he wouldn't use that to preserve his message over time. I think that's where it caps it, for people to realize how powerful that is and how much of a powerhouse we are, right? So for me, I say we're not just entertainers. I mean, entertainment can be one part of it, something we can do, but we are a revolution in itself. And so I feel like every poet has to start to carry themselves with that much glory and that much grace, because you can be anything you want. You've got the power of words, bad or good. You can do it.
that's actually strong. Okay, so do you think poets get enough recognition?
No.
Please calm down.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, so I don't think we get enough recognition.
So what's your reason?
But it's a starting point. You know, poetry has been there before man and time, you know. But it got to a point where it wasn't as popular. But then again, you have Shatta. Shatta is a poet. You have the ones in the palace that do the kirari for Sarakuna, you know, kings, the, what do they call them now in English? The praise singers for kings. They're also poets, right? But like in the commercialization of it, it wasn't as popular, you know, and then now it's getting that. So I'd say we're on our way there, but we're not getting enough recognition. I mean, even when I was saying that, you don't just bring us because you want us as an interlude between a panel session. We can be on that panel. It takes a lot of intellect, a lot of research to be able to push a message that takes maybe 1,000 pages to push out, to push it out in 2 minutes. So what makes you think we can't communicate on that panel? you know. So I feel like they need to start seeing us in that light. It's only fair that they do.
Hopefully.
If they don't, we're gonna create our own table.
We're sorry. We're sorry. So hopefully they begin to see you in that light. Okay, so do you have plans of grooming younger people to embrace poetry?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we have the Through My Voice community right now, which is a community of young storytellers, amazingly intelligent, strong young storytellers from across Nigeria. Right now, we just started that like 2 months ago, and we're about 193.
Wow.
You know, and it could be more, but we're being very judicious with who we allow coming to the circle for now. Reason being, we must know and understand that you are serious with your craft, not just, oh, I'm a poet, because no, you must be serious with your craft. And you know, the good thing about it right now is that we have started fostering collaboration with international organizations, something like change.org, where you have these young storytellers lending their voices to petition status on that platform to help them become the change that they want to see. So those are the kind of platforms that the Through My Voice community gives to young storytellers.
Okay.
And then I have the Alhanislam Tutoring Center, which right now is being housed by the Eritrean, where that is for kids between the age of 10 to 15. And so from there, you're moved to Through My Voice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's what we've been
wonder
doing.
We've been looking for you all these years, and you're really busy. Okay. Spoken words poetry is a trend now. Like most people, like they find I don't know. I don't want to use the word favor, but they find it interesting. They find it interesting now. So what's behind the trend?
I feel like people are starting to be awakened to their consciousness, because poetry finds its own way to getting into your subconscious, like I said. And so because we have that power, that locus of control, it's bound to be a trend. Come on, it's us.
Okay, and what can be done to sustain that energy?
Like I said, lots of collaboration.
Yeah.
We don't always have to work in silos. Sometimes the bigger picture.
Do it together.
Yeah, that is how to create an industry. And do not try to hinder another young artist from coming up just because you feel like this is your space.
That's actually a very important point.
Yeah, because it's not going to be you forever. Right? For me,
you've said something that touched me.
It's not gonna be you forever.
It's not gonna be you forever. So, and seriously,
so it's two things.
You just said it.
The train has left the station. Right? There's nothing you can do about it. So right now, it's either you want to be a kingmaker, or you get out of the way.
Simple.
If you're not gonna build the next generation,
then move away.
The train is gonna take over
not with
anyway.
You anymore.
And
listen, I'm taking it personal.
Take it personal.
I'm really taking it personal. Someone did something to me that I'm sending it to you.
Yeah, no,
it's not going to be you forever.
It's not going to be you forever.
So leave the field for another person.
Yeah, and if you want to stay relevant, it's always about reinventing yourself. But also, for how long would you keep reinventing yourself, right? So it's okay for you to say, listen, this is what I want my legacy to be. And then focus on that, you know? The sky is really big, to be honest. Like, focus on that. So I tell you what, other new artists come out. They're doing amazing, but there's always a Beyonce. Make peace with your legacy. Simple. You don't have to be everywhere, and you don't have to try to block people's blessing. I tell people this thing all the time. You know, even on my Twitter, I said it. I said, you are but a messenger. And if Allah puts something in you to give to somebody else and you refuse to do it, He would take you out and bring somebody else that would execute. It's that simple. So it's either you want to get on that bandwagon or you drop off.
Seriously.
That's it.
Seriously, you know what? Seriously, like talking to you is, you're just answering my questions, but you are actually inspiring me. Like I'm feeling the energy, you get? Seriously, yeah. And that's something, that's when you know the thing is natural, you get? When you're speaking with this person and you're not here being that, okay, I'm here to perform or do whatever I do, but you're talking to me, but I I feel that you won't understand. Anyways, as a northern lady in the industry, what do you find it challenging? Like, you're a mother, you're a wife, and you get to travel, you get to mingle. Is it challenging for you?
Yes and no. No to me, because first off, I am blessed to have a very, very beautiful husband. I mean, he's fine,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
like
yeah.
in there,
Black, like
Black
you
Arab.
oh yeah, like
But-
you call him Black
Yeah.
Arab.
Like in there, he's actually such a beautiful human being. He supports me, he doesn't try to stagger my growth in any way. I think he's my biggest fan. And I think that helps. I mean, don't get me wrong, because for me, before we got married, we had to sit down and I said to him, this is how I see me becoming in the future. And that is always important as a woman, as a man, choosing your partner. Never you choose your partner based on where you are right now. Don't make certain judgments based on where you are, trying to justify where you are, but make your judgments based on where you see yourself going, because that would automatically affect your journey. I mean, I wasn't who I am today at that time, right? Like 6 years ago. But then I was optimistic.
You saw the future.
Yeah,
like
I was
you had
optimistic
plans, yeah.
and said, listen, I want to grow, and this is how I see myself. Is this a kind of woman you would like to accommodate? Because if it's not, let's not hurt ourselves.
Yeah.
Let's be guided. So, and I was able to express myself. And sometimes you say, oh, I love him, but I don't want to tell him this, or I love her, I don't want to tell her this, so that she doesn't say, no, I can't be your wife, I can't be your husband. But you are preventing that breakup or that separation that would come with growth.
Yeah.
So you must be realistic from the onset, and that was what I did. And we have our own little marriage constitution, what works for us. And for me, that has been
The guideline.
a guideline and a big, like, kudos to whatever is happening right now and how we're able to do stuff. And that's why I'm saying, for me, that part is not challenging. Being a mother, I have learned how to treat my children as individuals. And I'm not saying that if you're a woman who always stays, home, if you're a housewife, you stay home with your children, that you're doing a bad thing. You're doing an excellent job. You're good at it, fantastic. Nobody should put any pressure on you that you have to be seen out there to be the it thing. No, everybody has their own pathway. And for me, it's okay, since I'm a busy mom, I don't always get to spend time with them in the house. Based on my experience with my mother, because my mother was an actress and she wasn't always, at home, and she was also an entrepreneur. What is my takeaway from that particular life that I had lived? It was that my mom was not always around, but the little time that she gets to spend with me, I could feel that my mother was there. It was able to fill that vacuum. So for me, it's when I go and do all my brouhaha, and then I come and I'm at home, then I'm at home for my kids. I spend that time with them. I bring myself to their level and they feel my presence. So that is what I do to make up for that time, right? Because it has worked for me. But again, a lot of times these kids will grow up, they're gonna be individuals. And guess what? They're gonna ask, what's the legacy really, right? That you have left.
Yeah.
So if you're a busy mom, to be honest with you, focus on building that legacy. They're gonna thank you. I'm so proud that I am my mother's daughter, right? And regardless of the time and whatnot, I am so proud. Trust me. And that is what I want my kids to be. And I'm still going to make this one point. Feminism is a thing that, a lot of people are taking into consideration and having all of that conversation about. Fantastic. But like my friend Fakria will say, which I have taken this bit and I run with it, is define feminism in accordance to your reality. Do not let anybody pressure you into jumping into a movement that you're not sure about, you don't even know anything about. For me, feminism could be making sure that the girl child in the North has a voice. For somebody else out there, it's, oh, let's legalize homosexuality. You don't have to jump on the bandwagon, but that doesn't mean that the concept of feminism in itself is wrong. but you must take it and localize it and you know, define it in accordance to your reality, and that is okay. And again, I say this to the feminists. I always take the opportunity to say this to the feminists. Stop pressurizing women who are okay with staying at home and taking care of their kids. That is a full-time job. That is beautiful. Nobody should make you feel any less because you're not out there. Because if we are saying, okay, we want to be out there, to be in the front line for advocacy and stuff, we still need other women to help with the children. Because if you're here fighting the men, then we need someone to help us raise them right, you know? And that is also where the he for she comes, like men who actually help women, right? So for me, it's just really what works for you. So yes, for other women, it can be challenging. For me, alhamdulillah, I have found what works for me. And I say to any other woman out there, find what works for you. If you're a busy mom, if you prefer to stay at home, whatever works for you, it's fine.
Yeah, just do you.
Don't be pressured. If you're not ready to answer the world, don't answer. Don't answer. Take back your autonomy and agency.
This is brilliant. I said, this is just brilliant. Okay, our final question is, where do you see yourself in 4 to 5 years from now?
Global, baby, global. Beyonce big.
You're already doing it. You're already doing it. It's not something that you see. Like, it's happening already. It's happening. And like I always say, we're still proud. We're proud of you. We're proud of you. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're that northern lady that everybody feels happy because she's representing us somewhere else.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you are really an inspiration.
Thank you.
And with this little conversation that we just had, I'm very sure that a lot of people are still inspired by what you just said right now. Because like I said, you were just talking to me, but I really felt it. Like, I got a lot of things. I'm happy we had this conversation today.
Thank you, even though she forced me.
I
don't have my signature headgear.
But my confidence I
there.
told you. It's not about what you wear. You already said it now. It's not about what you wear.
That's the Alhan. That's my signature headgear.
This is the Alhan that we made. This is the real one, the pure one, the one that wasn't ready for this interview, but we actually got the best out of her.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
All right, guys, you've heard it all from Alhan, and I'm very sure that you guys were inspired by her words. You know what? Like I told her, it's not all about being, oh, okay, I'm dressed, this is me today. No, she really gave us that originality, and I'm very happy that she did. All right, this is all we have for you on Showtime today. Don't forget to join us same time for a more interesting episode. Until then, it's bye for now.